Hi, I'm Mary Fletcher Jones, and we're here at RP3 Agency with Jim Lansbury. Hi, Jim.
Hi.
Jim, I'm so excited to talk to you about the ADDYs. As you know, they're coming up, and I thought that maybe you could give us that kind of unique insider's perspective on what it's like to enter the ADDYs and win the ADDYs, and maybe the impact that it has on your agency.
Sure.
I guess let's start just by talking to us about your agency.
Sure. RP3 Agency is sort of the second generation of what used to be Rosenthal Partners. Dan Rosenthal had been active in DC community for years, and about a year and a half ago, three of the management team from Rosenthal Partners formed this new agency, RP3, Beth Johnson, Scott Gold, and I. And we like to think of ourselves as a sort of a nimbler, leaner agency built for the new environment that we're in now, very digitally focused, and just trying to do great work.
And what are some of the accounts that you have here? I know you have Norfolk Southern. I'm a huge train fan, so I know that.
Yes, Norfolk Southern was a big win for us
Yes.
just earlier this year.
Right.
Mid-Atlantic Sports Network, Masson, Long and Foster, the big real estate brokerage. We do some work with Honest Tea. So we have a really nice mix. And of course, the Washington Area Women's Foundation.
So, Jim, you mentioned the Women's Foundation, and that's actually the piece that you entered for the ADDYs last year, is it not?
Yes, it is.
And you won?
We did. We won I think 3 for the video, the website, and the various elements of the campaign.
So tell me, how did you get involved with the Women's Foundation?
Well, Beth Johnson, our president, is a board member and has been very involved in it for a couple of years now. And they came to us, would have been 2009. It was in the midst of the recession. Charitable giving was way down. The need for their services, especially here in DC, was way up, and they were having a real hard time making ends meet. What they do is they provide grants to local charities who administer everything from child care, food, housing, career training, anything that women might need to get themselves out of poverty and get back on the right track. So the original assignment was really to do a video for their fundraising luncheon, which kicks off the year-end drive. Of course, given a brief that says do a video, we always do more than that.
Yeah.
It ended up being a whole package where it was an invitation, the video itself, social media plan, and blogger outreach to distribute the video.
Wow.
And a lot of email follow-ups and things. And the piece itself was a very simple idea. We had seen in years past, it was the typical sob story.
Mm-hmm.
Put up a woman who's having a rough patch in her life and got aid and got better, and everybody cries. And we knew that the circumstances were different that year. As I mentioned, the recession was just changing everything, and we really needed to not just reach that core group of women who are giving anyways, but really reach out to sort of a newer, younger generation. Mm-hmm. And we wanted to arm these women who were sort of their best supporters with a story that they could spread and share and draw more people in. And our research had shown that these sort of younger women philanthropists had a very different view of what it was. They weren't just going to stroke a check. They weren't going to just see some horrible statistic or children in need and just write a check and walk away. They really wanted to become involved, and they wanted to feel like they were part of a community. And to them, giving was a very sort of a social activity where the personal connections that they were forming were as important as the aid they were giving.
I see.
We were not only trying to sort of generate donations to provide the service, but to sort of cultivate a new generation of philanthropists, of younger women who are going to come up and recruit other women to be philanthropists. So the goals were really twofold. So we knew going in that we wanted whatever we did to be more shareable, mm-hmm. and something that people could sort of spread around, and that kind of led us to a creative execution that was very different than the typical testimonial. We basically used stick figures.
Yeah.
And the idea was we were going to tell a story of a woman who was drawn in pencil to indicate weakness and vulnerability. Mm-hmm. And as she reaches out and is helped by the Women's Foundation, meets these type of visions, she gradually becomes drawn in pen, mm-hmm. and to show that she's becoming stronger and more ready and armed to go out there and succeed. And of course, the key part to the story was once she's completely drawn in pen, she sees a woman who reminds her of herself when she started out back in pencil, and she reaches out and starts that transformation, and the pen sort of leaks from her into the next woman. And you get that idea of
I remember that
paying
piece.
it forward.
Yeah.
And
it was very moving.
Oh, thank you. And the great part about it was every bit of the creative time was basically donated. We found an excellent world-renowned animator in the UK who offered to do it for nothing.
Amazing.
We reached out to Clean Cuts Music here in Baltimore and Washington, who we've done a lot of work with over the years, and they really wanted to be part of it. They did the score entirely for free.
Wow.
They got some musicians from the Baltimore Symphony to play on the score
And the score
for
is
free.
important, right?
Very important.
There's
very
no
important. It's
words, so
right.
the music has to kind of tell that story.
Right, and we wanted the music. I always like it when you do something creative and the elements don't seem to line up, but when they're put together, it creates something interesting. So the story and the animation was so simple that we wanted the music to be very big and orchestral in scope to add that emotional heft, and I think the two really work nicely together. So that video premiered at the luncheon in front of about 1,500 people.
What was their
There
reaction?
there wasn't a dry eye in the house, I'll be honest
Oh.
with you. It was very unexpected, and I think they were all sort of
That must
taken
have
aback.
felt wonderful.
It did. We were there to see it happen, which was great. Immediately after it played, and the whole theme of Be That Woman had been worked into the entire luncheon. All the speakers were using the language and talking about the theme and what it meant to them.
Wow.
And it all built up to the video playing. As soon as it finished, they got up, and in front of every plate there was a donor card and a pen. And they said, take that pen and do for women in Washington what you just saw in the video and write the check. And so they had a lot of donations that were going out right there at the luncheon. And then as soon as we got out, we just started to distribute it. We hit the blogs, we gave this shareable version of it to everyone who had been there so that they could spread it to their individual social networks, put it on their Facebook pages, put it on their Twitter or whatever. It really blew up, and within the first couple of weeks it had something like, I forget the exact number, but it's 15 or 20,000 views on YouTube, which is really great for local effort.
Yes.
It went around the world. I've got blog postings from Russia and Poland, Yugoslavia, Israel, all over the world, people kind of talking about it.
People
And
just responded to this message and also the execution.
yeah, it was just so simple that you could picture yourself in it,
Mhm.
whether it was as the person who had received the help, the person who had given the help, maybe a volunteer. There were so many ways you could picture yourself in it, regardless of your background or your status. And I think that's one of the things that really resonated with people. It was really open to interpretation. And then we followed that up with, we had a Be That Woman website, and we kind of created a second wave of the campaign where we said, well, now you've seen this video where that's sort of every woman. Now tell us your personal story. So who is that woman for you? Was it your mom? Was it a teacher you had? Was it a guidance counselor? Tell us her story.
So you've engaged the audience in that kind of interactive piece
and
of it.
and we got, it wasn't huge, but we got hundreds, I would say, of responses.
That's good.
Blog posts, videos, pictures, stories,
Wow.
and they chose the most inspirational story to win the first annual Be That Woman award, which was then given at the luncheon the following year. So the whole thing really played out nicely over a period of time, and I think the best part about it was it really worked. They raised more money that year than they had in the previous 3 years combined,
Oh,
which
wow.
to us was the real measure of success, and it really had worked, and they got a lot of people, new blood infused into the organization, and I think moving forward they're in a really great place to continue to do good things.